aspirants, a very warm welcome on the YouTube channel of Analyst IAS. Recently, there was a G7 ministers meeting in Japan, and they have committed to move to carbon-free power by 2035. So we'll see why news, what are the key outcomes of this meeting, and India was invited as a guest member. So what was the stand of India at the meet? Then we'll see some things about the G7, what is the way forward. Then we'll be solving our today's prelims practice questions. So let's start. Why news? Recently, the climate and energy ministers and the envoys from the group of 7, which is the G7 countries, they have committed to work towards ensuring the carbon-free electricity production by 2035 and also accelerating the phase out of the coal. This was part of an agreement by the countries which happened at the end of the 2-day conference in the SAPPORO Japan. एंड इसके बाद जो होगा वो हिरोशिमा में होगा जो कि इस मई में होने वाला है. What are the key outcomes of this meet? So first of all is the acceleration of the renewable energy. These countries basically have agreed to accelerate the solar and wind energy investments to produce 1000 gigawatt by 2030 solar power से and approx 150 gigawatt from the wind power from offshore platforms. ये जो मूव है दिस इज इन लाइन विद द रिसेंट रिपोर्ट्स which were released by the Intergovernmental Panel on the Climate Change IPCC, and this is to ensure कि global temperature 1.5 डिग्री सेल्सियस से ज़्यादा नहीं जाए in the end of the century. Elimination of subsidies एक गोल है. The countries have reaffirmed their commitment for the elimination of inefficient fossil fuel subsidies by 2025. And phasing out inefficient fossil fuel subsidies is a key component of the Paris Agreement. Subsidy कम होगी, fossil fuel का use कम होगा, and इस हिसाब से होगा. Removal of government support towards the fossil fuel driven power. These countries have emphasized, with exception of a few clearly defined circumstances that are consistent with the 1.5 degree warming limit and also the goals of the Paris Agreement. They have stopped all the new direct government support for unupdated international thermal coal power generation by the end of 2021, and also there is public support for the international unupdated fossil fuel energy sector in the 2022. Now, G7 countries have also endorsed the Japan's national strategy, which emphasizes the clean coal or hydrogen, clean hydrogen, nuclear energy to ensure its energy security. The leaders have reaffirmed their commitment for accelerating the transition to clean energy and also achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by coming 2050. Leaders ने also emphasize किया है the need to urgently reduce the carbon emissions and achieve a predominantly decarbonized power sector by 2035. What was the stand of India at the meet? Because India was invited as a member, as a guest. First of all, on emissions targets, so इसने कहा है कि developed nation must not take on larger and more rapid CO2 emission cuts to meet the carbon neutrality goal before the 250. While they should provide developing countries like India the legitimate carbon space to grow. Also on the finance, it said that the developing countries needed finance, technology assistance from the already developed countries for the transitioning away from the fossil fuel. They will need help on finance, and also India put that point. Now, moreover, there was one more point that reaching the targets on the carbon neutrality and increased emission, ये उड़ के नहीं आएगा. It will not fly unless they were made keeping principles of equity and climate justice at the center. Then we'll see some things about the G7. So ये एक इंटर गवर्नमेंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है 7 कंट्रीज का, जिसमें जर्मनी, फ्रांस, इटली, जापान, कनाडा, यूके, यूएस हैं. 1975 में फॉर्म हुआ था, कोई सेक्रेटरीट इसका है नहीं. एंड G7 नेशंस इंक्लूडिंग इंडिया आर पार्ट ऑफ द G20. The group meets annually to discuss issues on energy policy, internal national security, global economic growth. इन सब के लिए मिलता है. G7 कंट्रीज 10% वर्ल्ड का पॉपुलेशन बनाती हैं, पर 21% CO2 भी and 31% of the global GDP. Presidency for the this year 2023 is held by Japan. Way forward, G7 nations, they account for 40% of the world's economic activity and approx quarter of the global carbon emissions, and they also play a very crucial role in addressing the climate crisis which are currently happening. However, they must also support the developing nations which often suffer the most severe impacts of the climate change, and also these developing nations have limited resources to address them. They will need assistance. These are the way forwards. Now let's discuss our today's practice question, that what is the theme for Digital Health Summit 2023 organized by the Ministry of Health and Family Survey and CII, building one health together, improving health equity, scoring for people and the planet, health for all, transforming the narrative, contributions at home, at work, in the arts, in the policy makings. You can type the answer in the comment section. They'll let you know if it's correct or not. Second question says that what is the theme of IWA World Water Congress and Exhibition 2022? Water for smart livable cities, water conservation, wastewater, clean drinking water. This was all about today's video and session. Hope you learned it. Thank you. Have a nice day and stay tuned with ANALYST IAS for your further preparation.